Okay, so today on Crypto Scam Watch we are looking at private key finders. And so you might have found yourself in a situation where you've lost your recovery phrase, maybe you've lost your private keys, and that sucks. And you're likely sad, angry, desperate, and there's a whole bunch of people who want to make a whole bunch of money off these feelings that you're having and your misfortune so far. And that's what we're looking at today. The motivation for this video came from a comment that someone left on one of my videos where they said, Stephen, this is a scary video. How come this guy is able to obtain a private key from an address? This makes Bitcoin easy to steal and has zero security. And so I had a look at this video that he'd linked, and I just had a quick look at some others, and I've stuck about 5 of them on the screen. These services claim to have some software, maybe some special hardware, or something or other lets you calculate a private key from a public address. And I had a look at a few of these videos, and all of them have a model that is quite straightforward. For pretty much all of them, you have to contact them. Often they will reply and make you pay for some software, or perhaps their instructions will require you to create a Bitcoin wallet with a certain amount of currency in it. And one of these videos, basically you had to send them your BIP32 root key for your wallet, which would allow them to steal everything. And they may then reply and have partial success. One of the videos said, oh well, yes, you can see the money, but it's sort of read only for a certain amount of time and you'll be able to withdraw it later. Almost all of them had some software that they would send you to install, something you should download, and then even maybe pay later to activate the software or to use it on a per address basis. And maybe they're going to scam you in some other way once they've infected your computer with this malware. And a lot of them would have their software and their service, and then when it doesn't work, they'll say, oh, what a shame, it works most of the time, but that's just bad luck. So they'll keep the money and everything you've paid to them, they'll keep all the malware on your computer, and you still won't have your coins. And simply put, all of these services that are private key finding software or services for Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency really, they exist to exploit your sense of despair, to offer false hope, and to scam you a little bit more while you're at your most vulnerable. One of the things you need to understand is actually how public and private keys work. So just like in all public key cryptography, you can generate a public key from a private key, but not the other way round. You can sort of think of a public key or a public address being a little bit like a shadow that is being cast by an actual real object. That's like the private key. So in the same way that you can't just take a shadow and shine a torch through it and produce whatever object cast that shadow, private keys and public keys are a similar sort of thing, in that a private key can be used to create a public key, but not the other way round. I think it's really important to understand how the guides on my channel are very different to what these scams are offering. So essentially, all of the guides and the tools that I'm recommending people use rely on you having most of your private key intact. Okay, so when you have a word wrong in your private seed, it's a bit like if you knew all of these words here, but there was a little bit covering up part of it. So it's far more practical to work out what is under this black box than to just try and guess the whole thing from scratch, especially if we know some of the public addresses that this private key was producing in the first place, and we can check against that. Essentially, tools like Seed Savior and BTC Recover are doing a trial and error operation and just using the public address that you know is right to check whether that guess was correct or not. With this approach, there are hard limits, computational limits around what is possible. For example, even the difference between recovering 3 words missing from someone's 24-word seed and 4 is years and years and years. It gets hugely more complicated with every additional bit of information we need to guess. So I guess the key way to keep yourself from getting scammed from these sorts of private key finders is to understand the unfortunate reality that just being able to see your balance with crypto, just being able to know what all of your public addresses are, doesn't mean you can get to it. It's not that different to being able to look through a telescope and to see a distant star. Just because you can see it doesn't mean you can magically get there. I guess the most important thing to remember when you really think this through is if someone did work out how to compute a private key from a public address, all crypto would instantly be worthless. If you open up your coin market cap one day and everything's gone to zero, this is probably what's happened. And you also need to ask yourself, if someone did have the technology to generate the private key from a public address, why wouldn't they simply grab a few thousand Bitcoin from Satoshi's wallet. It's been untouched for years and has billions of dollars worth of crypto just sitting there. So how can you stay safe? Well, I would suggest that you store your cryptocurrencies in a single BIP39/44 compatible wallet, rather than having dozens and dozens of coin-specific wallets. This might be something like a Ledger or a Trezor, Coinomi, or even a paper wallet, so you only have to manage one set of backups. So if you are someone who doesn't have a hardware wallet at this stage, I'd really encourage you to get one. They not only help you to boost your security, but they really make your backups a lot more straightforward as well. And I'll put a link to where you can get a Ledger Nano just in the description. They're a great place to start. And make sure you store your 24-word seed for this wallet in a secure place, in a secure way. It's also important to make sure you have run a test recovery on this 24-word seed. I've lost count of the number of times I've seen people on Reddit saying that they thought they had a 24-word seed, but then they discover when they go to reset their device that actually the 24-word seed was invalid. I think the last way to stay safe is to familiarize yourself with some of the tools and processes that can be used to recover from a mistake in your 24-word seed or passphrase. Understand the tools, understand their limits, so that you can spot a fake or spot a scam when you see it. What to do when you spot a scam video or a scam product like this: report it to Facebook, report it to YouTube, and etc. But also understand that they're probably not going to do anything about it. I reported a whole bunch of the videos that people had used when I was creating this one, that people had linked to or that I'd seen and found, and they're all still there. So I hope that helps you to understand some of the private key finding or private key generating scams that are out there, and helps you to understand a little bit why these are all obvious scams, and what some of the tools are that you can actually use to recover if you do find yourself in this situation. Thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful. Just hit subscribe if you'd like to be kept in the loop about future content I make to help people stay safe in the crypto space and to recover if they get into trouble. Or if there's a question you'd like some more information about or a topic you'd like me to cover in the future, just leave a reply.